see what you did there.
Celebrating the best and worst in music and movies right here.
Yes. And the skipper even said exactly what I was going to say. It's the bottom of the list, the bottom of the barrel.
We celebrate the top of the list a lot. The bottom needed a little love. It is the EriDan. 3 years now. For 3 years, we have been talking movies every Monday night with you, our internet friends. And tonight is no exception. Episode 165 of the EriDan Film Festival tonight, being brought to you in part by Disney Plus.
Disney.
I think this is gonna be one for the books. Maybe we get another movie to add to the montage. I'm sorry, I don't think so. But
the question is, though, here's the question: should we open tonight's show with the disclaimer?
Oh yes,
that they had.
Oh yeah,
this program includes negative depictions and or mistreatment of people or cultures. These stereotypes were wrong then and are wrong now. Rather than remove this content, we want to acknowledge its harmful impact and learn from it and spark conversation to create a more inclusive future together. Disney is committed to creating stories with inspirational and aspirational themes that reflect the rich diversity of the human experience around the globe. To learn more about how stories have impacted society, visit www.disney.com/storiesmatter.
Now, and so what's interesting about that is that Swiss Family Robinson, which is our movie for tonight, is actually one of the 4 examples that they give on the Disney website as to why it is so offensive. So if you go to the I forget what the website was already, but if you go to the website that they mentioned in the little intro, you are greeted with this explaining exactly why they feel that this movie deserves a disclaimer, talking about the inappropriate use of the pirates, the overdone, indecipherable language, and the use of the yellow and the brown face. And so Disney is definitely, still worth watching, because they have actually pulled some content that they felt was extraordinarily inappropriate. But they have left things up, but in started
like the little Hitler cartoons. They got rid of those.
Yeah, well, and they also did get rid of, they got rid of, we'll talk about this. We're talking about Swiss Family Robinson. We're not going to only talk about the things that maybe make this movie not work anymore. We're going to talk about things people like about this. Maybe this was a childhood classic for you, and you're thinking you would love the chance to talk about things that you think make this movie still redeemable, despite being completely inappropriate. No, I'm kidding. But no, this is in 1960. This was actually, before we start bringing people in, I've done some research on this, and basically this movie did so well in 1960 that in modern dollar terms, it made it would be over $500 million, the equivalent now of over $500 million.
That's $500 million, folks.
That's a lot of money, right? So, obviously a very successful, popular movie, 1960. So let's bring some people in to talk about this. But if you would like to talk about Swiss Family Robinson or other things on Disney Plus that have a disclaimer, I don't know, whatever you want to talk about, join us. We'll pick a movie for next week. Shall we do this? We should do this.
Bring them in.
The Queen of Controversy is here.
Yeah, that's me.
Always bringing in those challenging movies with the, controversial themes.
Let me tell you, Adam's comment in the chat this afternoon, I was like, okay, Adam, because Adam is usually pretty consistent. And then you come in and you're like, boom. And I'm like, oh, here we go.
And I debated about saving the boom for tonight.
Always save it for the show.
I know.
Yeah,
the show.
There is people don't hold back. They have no willpower when it comes to that messenger group at all. They just go blah, 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 and start talking. way
Well,
before the
yeah,
show.
you know, it's good to be on the inside track. You know, you don't want to blindside people.
Yeah, I feel better that I'm not blindsided because I'm just like, wow, this is a lot different than I remember.
Yeah.
And then for you to say the M word, I'm like,
oh, my wife was amazingly offended throughout this movie.
Really?
Oh yeah. The way women are treated in this movie is over the top, right? It's really bad in this movie.
Had she never seen it before, or did she just forget?
I believe she had seen it again when she was young.
Yes.
You know, but her memories of that did not hold on to the depiction of women and just how the women are, or the brothers making fun of what they thought was a sissy boy. Just so much of it she found really offensive. And of course, not to dismiss the use of the pirates, but obviously the use of the pirates. It was a very long watch. But let's it's unfair.
Speaking of a long watch,
I'm sorry, Dave. This conversation can serve no purpose anymore.
Oh, sorry. I put down my alarm.
Sorry.
That was quick.
A little slow for you?
No, he had a long watch.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so Dave posted this comment. Where did you post this? I can't find it in any of the YouTube channels. Did you post it on YouTube or Facebook?
I posted it in Streamcast, but it should show up on both of the YouTube.
I'm so confused.
If it didn't, I don't know why. Anyway, it was just a reference to the "Here Comes the Boom."
Oh, jeez.
So it's weird. Yeah.
Speaking of the boom,
that's Scott.
Yes, it's Scott.
Scott, as a baby, he'll grow. Bring Scott back.
Great Scott!
I see this as an absolute win.
Run for it, Marty.
It's an absolute win to have Scott here, of course.
What kind of flag is that?
The Chinese pirates.
Chinese pirates.
Oh, the Chinese pirates. Okay,
wow.
Good job, Wayne.
Is that how you watch this movie, from Chinese pirates?
You know something? I owe so much to Chinese pirates over my childhood. I just felt like they were totally unrepresented in this movie. First of all, no laptops to be seen. Just a torrent of terrible racism and misogyny. Sorry,
there was zero misogyny in this movie. If anyone thinks this movie is misogynistic, they don't know what the word means.
Are you going to say if they don't think anything was misogynist, they must be a stupid broad? Is that what you were going to say?
Exactly. That's what I was
Misogyny means contempt for women. It doesn't mean outdated stereotypes.
I'm totally pulling your leg. I'm fine.
No, but somebody did post in the chat that it was misogynistic, which to me is ridiculous.
It was
To go with contempt, I will say not contempt, but I don't know it's bad though.
The movie is placed over 200 years ago.
They don't remember. Wow, they established that with Napoleon. Yes, you're right.
Also, why are we not talking about the animal cruelty? I mean, literally.
That was my biggest.
There's that as well.
That was
Yeah, stop abusing animals, Amanda. We all know about it. Just stop it. It's sick.
I come in with the animal snatcher title, so I mean, it's not wrong. You're not wrong.
I was going to wear some fur, but
this movie did not have no animals were harmed during the filming of this movie.
Well, no movie had that in those days.
Yeah.
Well, they also are probably referring to their racist Chinese actors. So
true.
God. Why? I was expecting John Wayne to appear in this movie.
I mean, PETA wasn't founded until 1980. PETA wasn't even founded until 1980. This was 20 years before PETA existed.
Yeah,
PETA.
Yeah, but if you're giving electric shocks to the zebra in the mud in order to make it jump up like that, you know that you've done something wrong.
Is that what they were doing?
In the Westerns, they used to tie wires to the horse's legs. When they would shoot and they would have the horses fall, they would pull their legs out from under them. And that sometimes that's what they did to animals in the movies.
Yeah, but
in the circus too, like the Great Lafayette would have him.
It may not have been right, but it was
metal electrified platform.
Here's the thing. Even as a kid, I hated that stuff. I hated watching westerns because the horses would fall. I hate watching a horse fall.
Let's start on a topic we can all agree we hate is B. Francis. The little kid in this movie is just a complete disaster.
What are we talking about, though? I haven't seen the title yet, Eric.
Yeah, you didn't show the title card yet.
Oh, I didn't. You're right. We jumped too quick.
Well, we've been talking about it for all day.
Family Robinson from 1960, rated G. John Mills, Dorothy McGuire, and a bunch of kids you've never heard of before. A $4 million budget, $40 million worldwide gross. As I said, you adjust that for modern times. It did really well. Critics at an 83, and audience at a 78. So there you go. Thanks for the reminder.
Okay.
Yeah, as films go. Oh wait, I guess Stacy gets to start. What am I saying? Hold on. She picked this travesty. I mean this movie.
Travesty.
It's not a travesty.
Well, I picked it because Disney Girl, as you guys know, been talking about the Swiss Family Robinson Treehouse at Disney, and it's just nostalgic. So to watch it now at my age, in this age, this culture that we are in now, it slams you. Now, the animal stuff, always, like I said, always bugged me. Animals getting hurt, don't like it.
Well, Disney didn't like what you had to say. Sorry.
How women are portrayed and treated in this movie, yeah, it's obnoxious. But again, that is how women in that time were treated. As like Dave was saying, it's at a time.
Right.
Is it ironic that as Stacy's talking about how women are treated, her internet's breaking up?
Is that what's happening?
Yeah, you turn pixelated in the middle of your talk. Maybe.
Am I still pixelated?
What happens if Wade starts talking?
It clears up totally.
See, I thought at the beginning what they were talking about was that the Swiss family weren't really Swiss. That's
the disclaimer.
The funny thing is, their name was not
Chinese pirates in the South Pacific where they're going to New Guinea. So, but you know,
what about Papa? It was just New Guinea. What about Papa?
Okay, Papua New Guinea.
It was filmed in Tobago.
Yeah.
What about Trinidad? See, all these things, they're forgetting the first part of it.
And Minneapolis was where they were headquartered.
In St. Paul. I mean, it was Dan without the era.
Danera?
The what?
EriDan. As Adam says, to think this was rated G. It's a family film. Although the 1941's rated PG.
Well, there's tobacco in it.
This had a lot of guns in it. I was surprised.
I do want to start off by saying I hate that disclaimer. Not a disclaimer. A disclaimer's fine. That disclaimer is trying to have their cake and eat it too. It's trying to say, we want to show this, but trust us, we're really sensitive and we understand. No, all you need is the disclaimer saying this is a work of its time. It depicts stereotypes that are no longer relevant, that are no longer acceptable. It has to be viewed in the context in which it was created. That's all you need. You don't need that.
It was very childish the way they wrote it.
It is. Yes.
I didn't like that. I didn't like the wording, and I thought, you know what? I don't need to be treated. Maybe, but you know what? It's Disney Plus. It is a kids channel, so maybe that's why. Don't like it anyway.
Yeah, it is a disclaimer on a G-rated movie. So
yeah.
I mean, I think it's important to have a disclaimer.
I completely agree with a disclaimer. I just dislike the wording of that disclaimer.
I will say, so this is my first time seeing it, and after seeing that disclaimer, I was expecting it to be worse than it was in that regard. I will say, just because, like, I actually looked up earlier today why was there a disclaimer on Swiss Family Robinson? Just because, like, I mean, they were in like Southeastern Asia Sea, so it made sense that they would be Asian pirates. So and it seemed like the issue was that some of the actors had to be in like face makeup to make them look more Asian, and they kind of went overboard with the like costuming. So like again, if they had to do like if they were actually like putting makeup to make to like not hire Asian actors and make them like look more Asian, I can see that then. But like it really wasn't. And I had also assumed that they were speaking Indonesian, and they weren't. It was actually a gibberish language. So, okay, that wasn't great. Maybe actually use the language. Like, why not?
Mistakes were made.
Like, it was an episode of Who's Line, yeah.
So like in that regard. But like, I did expect it to be worse, given the fact that there was a disclaimer than it was.
I'm glad to hear that, because you know, it made me rethink it, and I'm like, oh, this
if
is
you were
sad.
an Asian pirate, you might be more offended.
The captain of the pirates is actually a Japanese actor who was very famous.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he was a heartthrob in the 1910s.
Wow.
Yeah,
sexy man
with American women. Because
one weird bit of trivia is they had no surname in the book. Their name was never given. Every movie and every other adaptation calls them Robinson because they take it from the title. The reason it was called Swiss Family Robinson was for even to some degree, even to this day, because you only have to go back to Gilligan's Island. After Robinson Crusoe was published, there was a whole series of books that tried to capitalize on that style of writing. And this is that's what it's named after. It's named after Robinson Crusoe.
Oh,
wow.
I did not know that.
Now, Olivia Newton-John had a quote about Grease. And when we played Grease, I think we discussed this. But she said it's a fun movie musical. It's not meant to be taken seriously. In this particular instance, it's kind of silly because the movie was made in the 70s about the 50s.
Right.
And she was talking about how people are like saying, well, you can't do this. You can't. If things were made in the time,
right.
You know, love them or hate them, Bill Maher makes a really good point about Christopher Columbus was a slave owner. Everyone who could afford slaves back in Christopher Columbus's days was a slave owner. That was just,
the word
it was
slave
wrong,
comes from
but it
the
still
Slavs,
right?
Like
but it doesn't mean that you don't discuss it within the context of the movie.
Sure,
right? I mean, that's nothing that should be in modern day. It shouldn't be acceptable because it was acceptable back then.
Exactly.
Right.
And if that's something that really bothers you, you probably shouldn't watch this movie, and that's perfectly okay.
Yeah, exactly.
But what I'm glad they do, I at least give them credit for this. I'd a million times rather have them put a disclaimer on the front than edit the movie. They try to cut out, because they do that with a lot of stuff these days. They try to cut out, whether it's Roald Dahl books or whatever, they try to bring out cleaned up versions that are acceptable to modern audiences. I hate that.
No, you can't touch other people's art, in my opinion.
Yes.
I think it's wrong.
If you don't want to read it and you think it's offensive, don't put it on the shelves. That's fine, but it's not yours to
exactly
clean up.
It's also the same that goes back to, you know, you can not like the artist, but you can like the art, like Woody Allen stuff or Bill Cosby stuff. You know, I would still listen to an old Bill Cosby album. And if I could find one, I'd probably add it to my collection.
You know, we'll still be able to watch EriDan stuff, even though you'll be disgraced.
Absolutely. Yeah, once one of us gets canceled.
It'll be Eric. He used the M word.
So I assume did anybody else try to watch the 1940 version?
I wanted to, but I didn't.
I have 25 minutes to go. It's a lot different. It really is.
Well, I mean, the entire pirate angle was made for this movie.
Yes,
exactly.
Right? There are no pirates in the book, and so it's. And they obviously use that as a crutch, right? Like it's like, oh, we didn't even get stuck in the storm, right? The pirates drove us into the storm.
The easy way out is you need a villain, and that's sort of like it's like a lazy movie screenwriter. We need a revenge plot is always an easy go-to. And
I do feel like they're way too happy to be on the island right away.
That was my main my main complaints about the movie were not really about any of the outdated stuff. It was that I wish that there was actually a character arc for the family. Like they were competent right out of the gate. They navigated just fine from the boat. Like they had to navigate some rocks, but they did that just fine. They didn't lose any of their animals. They built the shelter never had any issues. They always they managed to shoot those sharks really accurately. They were
with a flintlock.
Yeah, they were insanely competent. So later when they come across Roberta and they're like, "Man, were we ever like that?" And it's like, No, you weren't. I don't know why you weren't, but I wish there had been some arc of them actually learning how to do this.
Interestingly,
how Disneyland did not come up with a drink called the coconut bomb because of this movie, I don't know.
Oh, you can't use the word bomb, Scott.
That implies alcohol.
You can, but I'm saying Disney can't. Don't you remember the B-52s tote bags we got in California because they had a bomb on it? And they weren't allowed to use it for their concerts.
You can put your bomb stuff over there.
Yeah.
Interestingly, Amanda, in the 1940s movie, they covered the navigation aspect because they're trying to figure out how to get in from the rocks. And one of the kids points out that the ducks and geese are swimming off in another direction. And they go, maybe they know something. We'll follow them, and they've actually followed them into a little lee that's cut off from the current.
It just they don't explore the island, right? They just find the spot. They're like, we'll build it here, but we're assuming there's nobody here. The other side of the island could have been completely populated.
But they send the two boys off to go find out by themselves.
After months, they do that, right?
Well, keep in mind though, the book takes place over about 10 years, and you can't do that in the movie because the kid actors would have been ridiculous. So they compressed it to like maybe a year or two.
Yeah.
Adam makes a point here. This is going to bring up some conversation. He says it may be acceptable at the time it was made, but I'm sure people who saw it back then have probably, for the most part, realized how problematic the movie was. Yeah. So you mean the people that saw it back then, or
you mean they thought it was problematic back then, or in hindsight they think it's problematic?
Yeah, I think if they haven't watched it again, they don't realize, because when you watch something in real time, like there's stuff today that I'm sure 20 years from now they'll be like, oh my God, I can't believe they talked about that.
There's some movies we've watched made in the last 30 years that there are parts of that I went, ooh.
Yeah. The first time I watched Grease with Eric and some friends of his, he does mean in hindsight, Eric and some friends of his from Geneva when he was in college, we watched Grease, and I never thought of Grease as being dirty or anything, or how can anybody be offended by Grease? And these girls were so offended by this movie. Like, how dare they? And I was like, what? And then after going, oh, okay. I was
offended by 35-years playing high schoolers. But
all right, only one or two of them. Rebecca does have a thing too. Who here thinks they could survive on a deserted island with their
family? No, but it would be a better movie.
Yeah. They wouldn't have needed fake pirates to come in. They wouldn't have had to write those in. If it was,
we would have died from the water immediately.
Yeah, I can't swim. I can't swim. I would not.
We might have mourned the other people that were on the ship for like a half a second. The Robinsons could care less. He's dead.
They also completely dropped one of the kids from the book.
If you want to see what happens when a bunch of rich people crash on an island with a bunch of people who know what they're doing, you should watch Triangle of Sadness. Came out last year. It's a great movie, and it's loosely based on a silent film that kind of inspired the whole shipwreck thing in the first place. It's really, really good. And it's also for adults who have a brain.
I think the owners of the Naked and Afraid franchise should make a Swiss Family Robinson version.
My whole family is naked and afraid for 10 years. The show like Boyhood.
Oh yeah, that would be great. Actually, that'd be the only way to make this movie span 10 years would be to shoot it like Boyhood, where you bring them back every year and shoot for another month and then go away again.
I mean, that would have been an amazing movie. I think there's a lot of ways this movie could have been.
Yeah.
And I understand at the time, wildly successful, right? So, obviously they didn't need to worry about that back then. This was the movie they needed to make in 1960. This was obviously my first time seeing it, right?
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I had never seen this before.
I thought I'd seen it before. No, I didn't recognize anything.
I saw it when I was in like 4th grade at a summer park event with my rotunda or something. That was projected on the big screen. I'm like, what is this movie? We watched Monsters, Inc. last year. This movie looks like crap.
Well, that's North Kitsap for you, Scott.
Oh, it's little boy Scott. Daddy, I want the CGI.
I will say I found the character of Roberta very annoying. Like just what she was in the story. Like I thought it was kind of cool that they like found like this shipwrecked people. I didn't even mind where like, oh, she's a girl. That's kind of fun. But then her character from that point on was I am going to be the romantic tension between the two brothers.
Yeah, she's playing them off against each other.
That was literally all the rest of the movie. Like I kind of liked even though they never actually were incompetent at the beginning, I kind of liked the angle of, oh, here's somebody who doesn't know about like surviving on the island, and then we're kind of going to teach them the ropes, and kind of we're going to get to see the treehouse from their perspective. But no, she was immediately like, oh, cool, a daughter to dress up. Oh, cool, let's have her go flirt with both of the boys until they start fighting. And that was so stupid.
And keep in mind too that
honestly, when she was pretending to be a boy, she seemed kind of strong and independent at least.
Yes.
Right. And then the moment it was revealed that she was a girl, she became the wussiest girl ever to exist. and just was bad her eyes at people and was afraid of everything and could barely walk by herself, had to be carried. It's like, oh my God, what? Why? Right? And it's like, wow.
Yeah, I thought the portrayal of the mother was fine. I had nothing against how her role in the movie. I thought she was very reasonable for the character.
I didn't understand why they had to swaddle her like a baby in the ropes to swing her across to the boat.
Yeah, that was a little silly.
She was in a big dress. She could not. You would expect her to climb down in that dress?
They ended up throwing her in the water anyways.
I know that was why Francis could drop her in the water.
But in the 1940s movie, she's a very different character. He gives the 4 boys and the mother no say. He's just like, we're going to move to Australia. None of them wanted to go. Because in this movie, you definitely got the idea Fritz was happy to go. He wanted to find that, settle in a new land and be an adventure. And the mother was at least on board. You got the idea with the trip. She had bought into it. Not in the 1940. I have 25 minutes to go. I haven't quite finished it. She has just told the father that she doesn't love him anymore. Jeez. Because she is so upset and so unhappy on this island.
Now that's a family movie.
Now you see, that would be interesting, though. That would be some character development. That would be.
What goes around comes around.
I'm in love with Wilson now. He is gorgeous, and he listens to me.
Speaking of Fritz, at the end of the movie, Fritz never actually declares that he wants to stay on the island, does he?
Yeah, it just kind of implied, I thought.
It kind of implied that I want to stay the rest of my life here.
He wanted to.
Yeah.
I think so.
I was kind of hoping for a Lord of the Flies thing, where it just sort of devolved into the boys versus everybody else, and the pirates came along. Like, that would have been amazing, like a 3-way battle.
Well, what happens is the boys requisition the surviving pirate ship and become pirates on their own.
Exactly.
Oh.
I was
kind of hoping that something terrible was going to happen to the youngest kid, and that would at least make the stakes real.
You mean
right?
The tiger would eat him?
Wow.
Well, like maybe his arm got bit off by the tiger or whatever, right? Like, I don't know. There just was no stakes, right? It became very clear that there are no stakes here in this movie. Obviously, it's a G movie. They weren't going to be graphic. But I mean, like the water, obviously they didn't have water purification.
I don't know.
They never had a fruit that made them sick or,
Water purification is a non-issue if you have a spring. I used to drink out of a spring in my neighbor's yard all the time.
Well, aren't you lucky?
Some of those explosions were pretty graphic, though.
Yeah.
Like, holy crap. Like, that was like, can we get the Mythbusters in on this?
Oh, geez.
Water purification is only neat if you don't have running water. If you have a decent spring or a well, you're fine.
Yeah.
We've talked for 30 minutes about this movie.
That
means it's time to score this movie because we're going to continue talking to score it.
All right, let's score the movie, I guess.
The EriDan rating bot 6000 is now activated.
Calculating.
All right. I can't bring this up. Oh, it's Stacy's score first, of course. Never mind.
Of course.
Never mind.
Of course. All right. So a few things. When I was a kid, I was annoyed by Fritz getting the girl over his younger brother, Fran, because he's a grown man named Dano. I get that. I could not differentiate between those two. He looked the same from 1960 to the 1970s, playing two different characters, and I was mad. I remember that. I thought exactly. He's too old for her. Now, as an adult, I see. Oh, he's the right age. It's okay, and he's still cute either way.
Mary Martin's son.
Even with his pants pulled up all the way to his nipples, he looks amazing.
He is Mary Martin's son.
Yes, he is. I agree with Eric, the little boy. First of all, here's another thing, another tidbit. I didn't know that he wasn't Goldie Hawn's husband. I thought he grew up to be Goldie Hawn's husband, whose name I cannot.
Kurt Russell.
Yeah, I thought he was Kurt Russell. I
Oh,
always thought he was Kurt Russell. As a little kid, and then
That would have been amazing, actually. I like that.
I always thought he was. I don't know why, because he was in other movies and
He was in like everything.
Yeah,
He was part of the Disney stable.
Yeah.
right. So I thought that was him as a little boy, and then he's not. His sister was in a show called Bachelor Father with John Forsythe. I just don't know either one of their names, but he is annoying, And I think I didn't like him when I was little either, but that child has ADHD.
Oh, yeah. And that kid needed discipline. You want to talk about things they would have done to that kid 200 years ago before this movie. This kid would have been disciplined by that father.
Yes. I did love him as Jimmy and Pollyanna, though.
Yeah. Yeah. I love Disney movies. I can't help it. Again, the nostalgia of my going through that treehouse in Disney World and knowing it was from this movie that I watched on the Sunday night Disney whatever, Wonderful World of Disney. Yeah. Watching it there, I remember where I was, what house I lived in, because we lived in a few different over the years, and then just it's nostalgia, and it was good, and it was safe, I thought. And I don't know, a thing that I hated was when Roberta was revealed to be a girl, and they took the bandana off her short boy haircut.
Yeah.
Why is she a girl? Why suddenly do you know she's a girl? Right, I guess. So that was annoying. I'm going to rate this movie higher than people probably think I should, but it's going to be an 88.
Nice.
Because it's
that's your movie.
My thing.
That's totally fine. Yes, you should. Wade, is it
well? Yeah, it definitely is a classic, and I'm sure I watched it on Wonderful World of Disney and maybe somewhere else, but I've seen it quite a few times.
Mm-hmm.
And the one part that always kills me is when they hit shore, those big dogs run off down the beach, and the kid chases them, and there's a turtle down there, and it's like
that big
okay. But yeah, so and I don't mind the Chinese pirates or whatever they are, pirates.
It makes sense.
Worked for me. The Swiss Family, maybe. But yeah, I'm going to give it a 75 because it's still a classic, and I'd watch it.
There you go. Awesome. Brian, who did not leave this in a place where I could post it, said that he gives it an 80, a little slow in parts, but fun. I remember watching the scene at the end with the pirates who just keep coming like nothing happened in the film. Like nothing happened in film class. All right, yeah, he watched it in film class.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
He gives it an 80.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, as I said last week when Stacy picked this, I do remember there's only 2 movies I remember for sure seeing at the Super 51 drive-in. And I don't know if I saw them in a double feature or 2 separate times, but I saw this and I saw the Apple Dumpling Gang.
Yes!
And I saw them at Super 51. And this, as Amanda pointed out as she was watching this, shortly before I was going to mention it, it's like Home Alone on an island. And that's why I think I loved it so much as a kid. I love the coconut bombs. I love the traps for the pirates. I just loved that stuff. It was awesome. I just loved gadgets and the water delivery system with the giant wheel, and that was just stuff that just appealed to me as a kid in every possible level. And in hindsight, I see it, but I never saw the pirates as Asian pirates. They were just pirates.
Right.
It didn't register with me that there was anything unusual about that. Those are just pirates. It didn't occur to me. If I had been 2 or 3 years older, maybe it would have, but it was fine. It mostly holds up for me too. I still really enjoy it. I still view it as a very successful movie. I view any work as of its time.
Yeah.
And to be viewed in the context of that, again, that doesn't mean you forgive the sins of the past, but to judge every movie by modern sensibilities means or every book, you can't read Tom Sawyer anymore.
Yep.
You can't, for that matter, you can't read the Bible anymore. So it's just, because there's slavery. Hey, it's accepted. So everything is of its time. And within the context of that, I still really love this movie, and I give it an 85.
85 from Dave.
Woohoo!
All right, let's keep it in the family here. Hold on, there we go.
This was a odd one. I thought that there could have been a really cool story of them learning how to survive on the island, and I felt like it was just a massive missed opportunity in that regard. Because I agree that all the stuff in the treehouse was super cool contraption-wise, but it didn't feel like earned in any way, because it's like, oh, did you know we're master carpenters and like inventors already? Like,
did you see the shine? The shine on those wood beams was like,
yeah, like I really wish we had actually seen them start out as not knowing how to do any of this, and then like get to a point where they were, and it was super cool and impressive.
Well, when your logs are made out of styrofoam, it's easier.
And that's fair. And I agree that the little kid was annoying. Just the way he delivered all of his lines, they were all like shouted, and they were all like very much just like basic statements that they did not sound like the kid would naturally
let me have
say.
the presents. My brothers are dead. Let me have their Christmas presents.
Yeah, like, they were so on the like, I don't know. I just found him annoying, and his need to like, I need to go snatch every animal I can find and never had any consequences for it was also kind of dumb. But like, as I mentioned, I found Roberta's character annoying. But otherwise, like, I didn't hate the movie. I thought it was a pleasant enough watch. I mean, they clearly were doing a lot of let's let people look at all these super cool animals and have like all kind of adventures with them, which was, I mean, silly that this is an island where all those animals existed apparently, but like it was
tried to explain it though. They did try.
They tried
because that is in the original book.
They did include those lines, which was cute. But, yeah, I mean, I'm not sure I'm like jumping at the bit to watch it again, but I wouldn't mind seeing it again. It was a fine movie. So I'm going to give it a 72.
72, not bad.
All right, let's go over to Scott.
Hello, friends.
Hello, Scott.
Here we go.
Sit
All right. So I actually I do agree with Dave. This movie is very much about the climax, and it's about the production design. It's a very overly produced family movie based on a book that was much more directed towards an adult audience. Wow, Disney doing that with an adult book. What are the odds? And you're telling me The Fox and the Hound ends with everybody dying and the hunter shooting himself? Yeah, imagine that. For me, it is definitely about the story, and it's why I've made this joking title right here. Because, yes, film was of the time. You're going to have actors who are not actually Chinese in this playing Chinese pirates, and you're going to have Italians who aren't actually Confederates playing Confederates. We talked about this last week. But the fact that they just get bowled over, there was no real threat. There was no real stakes. This was a vacation movie in a survival setting. If Lost had somehow turned into an episode of Vacation, this is pretty much what this was. And it just completely threw me for a loop. Yes, it's a very particular kind of whimsical Disney that we saw in the 60s with all their live action movies coming out of their low budget inability to get a big hit cartoons of the 60s and 70s. And as long as Disney's putting story first, I would love to see that happen when they actually do remake Mulan and turn into a real character like she wasn't the first time they did it. As long as we're talking about Chinese characters. But yeah, it's of the period. It's fine. It's a couple fun parts. There's the usual tropes that make their way in. Hello, old yeller kid. Yes, you are annoying and no one likes you. And I'm sorry you're going to quit acting after doing this movie. It's fine. I'm going to give it like a 75.
Like a 75 or an actual 75?
Nice.
All right.
Just for that, it's a 74.
Nope. He said 75. Adam has not yet given a score. Rebecca did not watch it this week. I'm waiting for my mom to give a score. Oh, wait, sorry. How'd that happen?
I don't know.
What'd you click on?
Oh,
there it is.
With a vague memory of watching a newer version. Lost in Space. The movie.
Danger Will Robinson. And here's to you, Mrs. Robinson. Everything's Robinson.
I thought this was based on that song.
Even our high school principal was Mr. Robinson.
Don't you worry,
I just saw a
Mrs.
picture of him today.
Robinson.
Mr. Robinson.
Chinese pirates won't take you away.
Love Bert.
Hey. I'm a fan of the quality of the movie. I do think it was well done. It's not my cup of tea. It's not a movie I'm going to watch again. I do actually want to watch the 1941 though. So I'm going to give this 5 extra points because it did inspire me to want to watch the old 1941 that Disney apparently bought and shelved and blocked from anybody ever seeing back then. Now it's available. But I'm going to go. I'm going to go with the 72.
72 from Dan.
My mother says I've loved lots of movies from the time, but this isn't one of them.
Oh,
right. And that happens too.
This isn't the movie of the time.
No, she liked a lot of movies from the 60s. This is not one of the ones she liked. She gave it a 49.
Whoa!
Ouch.
I know.
Did you watch it with Adam?
Kevin Corcoran did it. It's Kevin Corcoran.
Will she pass? Will Adam pass her? Is the question.
I doubt it, but
It's hard to know, really.
So all we have left is Adam and
me,
Mr. Sheemer. What are we looking at?
Mr. Robinson, right in the middle.
Wow, he looks exactly the same.
I thought that was Swiss Family Robinson for a second.
Wait's ice cream. Who else is in that picture?
It's all teachers. There's Mr. Yeager.
Oh yeah, Mr. Yeager right
Wait's
there.
ice cream sign. There's a Wait's ice cream sign behind.
Jack Fulton's hiding behind him.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mrs. Blyton, Miss Mahoney. I can't remember her name. She was. I forget what she taught.
Mr. Cornell.
Yep.
Wow.
Ed Dambaugh in the striped shirt. Mr. Nagel next to him. Mary Beth Quinn. Mrs. Turek.
Oh my God.
Mrs. Tokar.
I just emailed Mr. Dambaugh a couple years ago during the pandemic.
He was teaching Emma, our daughter, calculus at that time.
Wow.
So actually, when I was down in Malibu, Dan, at Barry Katz's comedy show for his kids, I sat 2 seats away from Mrs. Robinson's kid because that's Sam Elliott's wife.
Oh, literally Mrs. Robinson's kid.
Yeah. Sorry, I had to name drop that.
All right.
Wow, that was an excellent name drop. We appreciate that so much.
Yeah.
This name drop is sponsored in part by America. Now under new management. Come on back to America.
What about Switzerland?
Why is it on me? I put it on Eric.
I have no idea because it's all about you. All about Dan. Yeah, this movie did not fly in my house. This did not work. This was. I feel like this movie is good for spurring conversations about things that were inappropriate and acceptable in the 60s, which is great. And so I think we did that, which is good. I think that the family's obnoxious. The writing is lazy. It's just all too easy. It's a G movie, and I understand that. But, for seeing it for the first time, I get none of the nostalgia, right? Yeah. So I have none of that wide-eyed young person view of it. Purely viewing it through a 2023 lens. Yes, looking back, yes, I understand why they did that. But I think that without the conversation of why that is, kind of uncomfortable to watch now, it's important to have that conversation with it. No, I wouldn't watch this again. I wouldn't recommend anybody watch this unless they're interested in having a conversation afterwards. But it just didn't work for me in a whole bunch of different ways. And so 44.
Guantanamo movie.
And so let's see if we're gonna get a score. Oh my!
Oh boy!
I didn't enjoy anything about this movie from the time it started to the end. Add in the problematic stuff in the movie, and it made it even more of a grind to watch. 13. He made Scott disappear.
The thing is, that is a normal score from Adam.
So 13 times better than Cats.
13. Yeah, everything's
a very good way to look at it.
This movie was 13 times better than Cats for Adam.
Can we just say his score now comes in Cats, guys? He gets his 13 cats.
He gives it 13 cats. Absolutely.
13 rum tum tuggers.
It's a grind to watch.
13 guesses.
Yeah, I'm not even ever surprised by Adam's scores unless they're higher.
That's a pretty jellicle score.
I'm serious. No, I'm serious because I just know how he watches
probably a smart approach.
I think you should rename this. You should rename this.
Oh
no! Jellicles. It's
beating out Jacob's Ladder and coming right below Blade Runner.
Had it been Three Amigos? There were no racist stereotypes in Three Amigos.
No, none whatsoever.
Oh, definitely not.
Guape was perfectly appropriate.
Oh, 100%.
They were funny guys.
It's comedy. You can
Here's
get
my
away with
question.
that in comedy.
Here's my question: if it weren't for the disclaimer, would we really be having as much of a discussion about some of these things?
Probably.
Maybe not as much. We would.
Right.
Yeah.
I think Eric's just protecting Disney.
Honestly, the issue in my house was far more focused on the depiction of women and just the whole hey, here's everybody that's going to be in charge if something happens to me, but it never is the woman. We're going to let the 9-year-old be in charge first.
Yeah.
Before we let a woman be.
It's 1812.
Yeah, worth noting the greatest pirate of all time was a Chinese woman too.
I like the disclaimer. I like the disclaimer at the start of South Park better though.
Oh yeah.
I like the disclaimer at the start of Impractical Jokers.
Oh no, wait. The best disclaimer ever is the beginning of the superhero orgy episode of The Boys.
All right.
No one's seen it. Okay.
Adam, I don't think you can get it, Adam. I don't think they have it anywhere.
I have it.
Like original uncut?
Yes.
Downloaded. No, he's got the circumcised version.
I have 2 different versions. One of which has much better picture, but no extras, and the other has a bunch of extras.
Very cool.
Nice.
Very lovely.
Well, I think we have to. So I will not be on next week's show. So I cannot pick the movie.
Is that why you're gradually shrinking into the floor?
Yes. I am heading to Washington, D.C. to take my son to college.
Ooh.
So Sunday night won't work. Monday won't work. Tuesday won't work.
Congratulations.
And Wednesday I'll be flying back. So
that's very cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
I am stepping out of next week's show. So there will be a show as long as you guys all want to do one. Obviously, it'll be the Era Dave or the Era Scott or the Era Air Riders.
I'm just bringing everybody in at the beginning.
I think, given the amount of hair on my head, I am more qualified than Dave is.
For Era Scott?
Yes.
I'm just going to let Scott and Dave handle it. Dave or Scott.
So I will not be on the wheel this week.
Because your mother texts you usually her responses. Does that mean your mother's out of the running for next week too?
I would probably say yes.
Yes, probably. That's okay.
So remove you can run the wheel, and if one of us come up, just run it again. That way you don't have to fall out and lose our space.
I've already moved your stuff.
Just ready to trap you.
And then I'll be back for the news radio episode, which will also have to be on Sunday the 27th because my birthday is the 28th, and I am having a gathering at my house. Yes, Scott, you are invited.
Oh, just Scott. I see.
Wait, when's that again? Sorry,
Monday the 28th.
In front of us.
I'll be there.
Well, you guys can't come. You're all invited. Everybody that's
there it is.
I'm gonna be shooting a music video with Jesse in the desert in South Dakota.
I thought Jesse wasn't back to the 31st.
I thought Jesse was a friend.
It's a good friend of mine.
All right, are we doing this? Are we gonna spin?
Yes, drop the Rick Springfield.
This is gonna be this could be big. Oh yeah, it's the time you've all been waiting for, except I forgot to places from the wheel. Since Stacy is the one who brought us our fun-filled Swiss Family Robinson. Okay, here we go.
Woo!
Y'all really want
this
it
is the
now.
moment we have all been waiting for.
Brian in chat? Is Brian around?
Huh?
Brian was in chat.
Brian said he could not
posted
be
his
here,
story,
so if
yeah,
Brian
please.
comes up, we will respin.
Okay.
So yeah, I did not get rid of Brian's spaces.
In black and white. So we got to see a black and white movie?
We could if you.
It's me.
It looks like
Wade.
the rider train.
Gosh,
continues.
Oh,
Once a rider, always a rider.
well, I actually found an airplane time travel movie that I was going to pick, but Dan's not going to be here, so I won't pick it.
I'll still watch the movie, and I'll send a score in. I just won't be on the show.
Okay. It's up to you.
Is it the episode
Earhart on Ice.
30,000 feet of Twilight Zone
No.
or whatever that one was?
No,
With William Shatner and the weird thing on the plane.
Is it Time Cop? No, I'm kidding.
no, it's a Final Countdown is the one I was thinking of. But yeah, we can watch it. It'll be you guys will all be bored to death. But
From 1980
Yeah.
on Prime Video.
Wait, did you watch? Is this the one you watched a few weeks ago?
Yeah.
It is the final countdown.
Kirk Douglas and Martin Sheen.
I remember this one. This is a good movie.
Okay, good. I thought it was pretty good.
This was funny because Wade was
Pacific
watching it.
aircraft carrier enters a time warp and finds itself transported from 1980 to 1941, just before the attack on Pearl Harbor.
I never saw it, but I remember when it came out.
Wade was watching this, and Reagan's looking, and she goes, "That guy's familiar," or something. I can't remember. And I said, "You remember what was that? What was that show? The Kaminsky Method." She's, "Oh yeah, that's him." I said, "That's his dad." She's like, "What?" It was really funny.
Michael Douglas.
Yeah.
Yeah. I said, "He just died, though." She was just like, "It was great."
That's a good movie.
Well, not according to Rotten Tomatoes, but we'll find out.
Well, it's a good movie if you like time travel movies.
Yeah.
An hour and 43 minutes. Nice.
Yes, thank goodness. I applaud your choice. Anything under 2 hours.
Yeah, right?
Note to self, pick Lawrence of Arabia.
Wow, I am not familiar with this movie. This will be cool. A little something different. All right, cool. And he knew right off the bat what he wanted.
See, that's what you're all supposed to do.
I saw that as a kid, so I don't know if that means he liked it.
Sam Elliott's wife's in it.
You're still a kid, Adam.
Aww.
Sam Elliott's wife's in it, Scott.
Oh yeah.
Missy Elliott?
All right, we're gonna do one of these. Hold on.
I can't remember her name.
I've got too many buttons. Let's do this one. It's time to talk about what else you've been watching.
We're here today to talk to you about EriDan 3, this big old nappy cheese ball head, which is made possible because of Dan here winning the lottery. I won the lottery! Oh my God! Mother!
Some
Wade
fine acting there.
Wade
Mother.
Your voice
is that Eric?
Similar to Francis in Swiss Family Robinson. Mother.
Your voice sounds like mine.
Yeah, Wade
I won the lottery. I won the lottery. What? Mother.
I'm going to go ride
It
ostrich
was
now.
Eric.
What was that, an adolescent Jimmy Stewart?
I won the lottery, you say.
Harvey, I won the lottery.
Mr. Potter. I won the lottery.
There's a connection, though, because you got Jimmy Stewart in It's a Wonderful Life, which has Thomas Mitchell as Uncle Billy, who stars in the 1940 version of Swiss Family Robinson.
Oh my God!
Wow!
Watch it. For sure.
And I'm wearing a Converse jacket that I got for free. I remember that jacket. The mustache was also included. Eric was acting drunk for some reason.
I was loose.
He was being the comic relief. You were the straight man.
Big old nappy cheese ball heads.
The big old happy cheese ball heads, of course. That classic. That old yarn.
Didn't Don Imus get fired for saying something like that?
Yeah,
Dave,
hose.
Yeah, that's what it was. All right.
But
Thanks for sharing, Wade.
One thing I watched was
girls basketball team.
If any of you kind of liked The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, but felt it was either you couldn't deal with the dubbing or it was just too long with nothing happening, or
yes,
I will highly recommend, because I rewatched it for the first time in many years, The Outlaw Josie Wales, which is it has a lot of the similar feel of the spaghetti westerns, but without those aspects, and a much sort of more coherent, more linear plot. And it really is a wonderful movie. I highly recommend it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's a good rating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Good response, Dan.
I second that emotion.
Yeah, I agree, Dan. Yeah.
So.
Oh, it's written by Clint Eastwood.
I've been having this weird thing happen on TikTok where I keep getting little pieces of movies or TV shows.
Yeah.
And then you like watch it and then you go, oh, and then you start scrolling through and watching the same thing. And I've been watching a ton of Family Guy lately again.
Just on TikTok.
Just on TikTok. No, I end up going back to Hulu and finding it and watching it. Plus, I've been watching from 2 weeks from today, the News Radio.
I'm excited. I might finish the whole series run by the time we get to the show. At the rate
Even after Phil Hartman?
The John Lovitz years.
Season. There's only
I know.
with John Lovitz.
It's before Andy Dick became insufferable.
He's getting there.
He was funny at the beginning, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So, Eric, where did you find it? Because we lost it because they took it off of Prime the day after we started watching.
Right, it was on Prime. It's over on Apple TV now, I understand. And there's a number of other places.
If you have a Gmail address, here's the secret, everybody. If you have a Gmail address, you can add plus after your first, like if it's Stacy at Gmail, you can do Stacy plus Apple at Gmail. It creates a unique email address, and you get free trials with using that email address.
Okay.
They could do Apple 2, Apple 3, Apple 4.
Yep.
This is not supported by the EriDan broadcast.
No, I'm just saying, if you ever need an email address for something.
If you were unethical enough to do so.
So do I actually have to make that email address?
No. It automatically, if you add a plus to any Gmail address,
it's not just email. Most email servers you can do that with.
Most email servers. This just in. If you add a plus, it sends it to your regular email.
The idea is you can use that
the response.
For example, you can have a single email address, like Stacy@gmail.com, but then you can sign up for other services at Stacy plus Amazon, and you can have then an automatic filter on your email, that says put all the Amazon stuff in this folder and things like that. It gives you a way to organize emails.
And also to know if they sell your email address. Because if you're getting stuff from, let's say, Mutual of Omaha, and it's addressed to Stacy plus Amazon, you're like, Amazon sold my email address
exactly
to Mutual of Omaha. It's a good way to track things.
Interesting.
So there you go. So that'll get you some news.
So then you can get some free trials that way too.
Okay. Do you have to have an Apple device to have Apple?
No.
Okay.
No, you can have the Apple service to any smart TV.
Okay.
Or any computer. You can just watch it on your computer as well.
That's very true.
Okay. Oh goodness.
Or watch it on your coconut.
Yeah.
So I watched 5 movies over the weekend.
Wow.
It was our anniversary. We had
happy anniversary.
Oh, that's right.
Happy anniversary. Happy anniversary.
We didn't go anywhere or do anything. We just hung out a lot this weekend.
Oh.
So I'm going to give you these movies along with in the order of worst to best. Most were pretty good. So, but starting at worst, we watched Transformers Rise of the Beasts.
Oh.
I cannot recommend this. This is
that Michael Bay?
Huh?
Is that Michael Bay?
Michael Bay was involved. I don't think he actually directed it. No,
Okay.
He did not direct it, but he executive produced it. It wouldn't have been any better or worse. It could not have been any better or worse. It's exactly how it sounds. Coming up next, we watched Chicago. Reese Witherspoon and what's her face?
Renee Zellweger.
Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Renee Zellweger.
Thank you. Not Ruth Witherspoon. No, it's not bad.
It was Reese with her fork.
Thank you very much. Well, how about that? Okay, but now we're gonna get into the good stuff. Reservoir Dogs, which I'd never seen before.
Yeah. Really?
Yes. Awesome. No Hard Feelings, relatively new release.
Never heard of it.
Is that the Billy Crystal one?
That's the one. Yeah, we did see that. Yes.
Yeah. Enjoyable raunchy comedy. Rated R, and Shaun of the Dead. Again, movies I had not seen before.
Shaun of the Dead's a lot of fun.
Wow.
It's just about that and Dawn of the Dead and Night of the Living Dead are the only 3 zombie movies I can stomach.
I enjoyed me a good zombie movie. This did not feel like a zombie movie, but was just a lot of fun. It's totally enjoyable, totally weird. Loved it. So there, So don't leave the house. Just sit around and watch movies.
We did go see Barbie.
Oh, and what do you think, Dave?
We really enjoyed it. Yeah.
I want to see it.
It's a very well-made movie.
Good. That's good.
My son went to see Barbie. He's seeing it right now, actually, over in Seattle. And he's wearing a pink shirt, light blue pants, and thick rim white sunglasses.
That's fantastic.
He is all in.
As he should be. You got to go all in. If you're going to go, right, you might as well, you might as well go all in. Here's
I'll say my perception of Ken has been forever changed, though, by Toy Story 3. Is it 3 or 4 that has the whole Ken fashion show?
It's 3.
With my wife and son at the Barbie movie.
I thought it was very fun. I probably prefer Legally Blondes over Barbie, but it's a good movie.
I have not seen it. I don't plan on seeing it. And that's all I have to say about that. No, I will see it at some point.
Oh, it's coming up on here eventually, as soon as it's available.
It maybe is not worth all the hype, but I think part of the hype is post-pandemic blockbuster. This and Maverick are really the only two since sort of the veil lifted on the worst part of the pandemic.
Well, Maverick was supposed to come out in 2020.
I know. Yeah.
It's okay.
You still got to see it, Wade. It's okay.
Yeah. It was actually pretty good.
Yeah, it was good.
We watched the first 2 episodes of Only Murders in the Building.
Yes, so did we.
Wait, what? Those are out? Oh.
Yes, it came out this past week. The first 2 episodes.
Oh, I gotta go right now.
And so far, good.
Why am I wasting my time here with you people?
Hi, everybody.
Just good night. See ya.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Oh, wait, that's the wrong opening. Oppenheimer, by the way, has already done 648 million. So I think
for a biopic,
that might be a blockbuster as well.
For a biopic, it is absolutely. Yeah. I mean,
the highest grossing biopic.
Adam still won't watch Barbie. Barbie. Adam, maybe I'll take you to Barbie sometime. You and I going to Barbie.
20 minutes.
Yeah. I want a live stream of you and Adam watching Barbie together.
I want a GoPro of Adam's face, all distorted, watching Barbie.
If you put a GoPro on Adam's headband, all you're gonna see is face palms the entire movie.
Yeah.
This is a really good movie about Adam's forehead.
It definitely is not a movie for everyone. I completely agree.
Yeah, and it definitely leads into being a very cringy at times, but it's okay. That's kind of the point.
Well,
now, what other movies are they going to come out with now? Now that they've had this success,
I heard on the radio they named off a few, but I can't remember.
Yeah, they have plans for all kinds of like
Hot Wheels.
Yeah, I'm not sure any of those are going to be able to be.
You don't want an Uno movie? Come on, you got to be excited.
How about Rock'em Sock'em Robots?
There you go.
I thought I had heard that was
the head pops out.
There's going to be a lot more commentary forward, practical fantasy movies.
Yeah, they're currently developing a Rock'em Sock'em robot.
I want a
Slinky movie.
Starring Vin Diesel.
Oh, of course.
Yep.
Not Vin Diesel, please. No.
Nope,
that was called Real Steel, wasn't there?
Vin Diesel cannot act.
Can you imagine working at a car dealership selling a truck that's a diesel and somebody asks you for the VIN? You want the VIN on the diesel? That's all I got, folks.
Okay.
That it?
Speaking of, I don't know if anybody heard, Clutch Radio is now monthly.
No.
We're not going to do weekly anymore because Rafi's heading off to teach college. He's leaving
yeah,
on
you
Wednesday.
did say that.
Wasn't this the Rock'em Sock'em Robots movie? Anybody remember this?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, there was also the one with Hugh Jackman.
He's a big Jackman.
He's huge.
Huge.
Yeah.
Wow.
How about Monopoly? Have they done a Monopoly movie yet?
They did a Battleship movie.
Oh yeah, with Rihanna and Liam Neeson. Yeah, that was
sunk
bad.
my battleship.
And I love that the grenades were like the bombs that they dropped on them were shaped like pigs.
Right?
It's so bad.
Well, they have done some really bad game-based movies. There's no question. Or toy-based movies.
Clue was good.
What's that?
Clue.
Clue was okay.
The fact that they did the multiple endings. I like that.
Clue was clever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I want to see Sorry the movie.
Oh, sorry.
Or the Canadian version. Sorry.
With a giant pop-o-matic.
Sorry.
Oh yeah.
I checked out Mission Impossible.
Trouble and Sorry were the two with the.
Sorry, I didn't have that.
Headache was the other one with the pop-o-matic. That's right.
Yeah. One had pointy little movers.
One had cones and one had cylinders. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Cones and cylinders. Little pointy hats, Dave.
Yeah, pointy hats. Yes. To use the geometric term, pointy hats.
30 years from now, we're going to see, and the winner for Best Picture is Parcheesi.
30 years from now. That should be now.
Right.
30 years from now, we'll see, and the winner for Best Picture is Fortnite.
Oh,
Best
yeah.
Picture is, the winner for Best Picture is Cootie.
Oh, there we go.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
That's coming out.
Yeah, that's already out. Yeah.
Is it out?
No, it's coming. That's what I mean.
Well, they also made it 3 years ago. It's called that Nicolas Cage movie. He was with all the animatronics. That's the name of the movie, actually.
That guy. Story.
Willy's Wonderland.
Gran Turismo, based on a video game, but also claims to be based on a true stort.
He corrected it. He corrects it.
I know, because I just said
Nice.
story right off the bat. I'm like, story.
Stored.
Yeah, there was a preview for that when we went to see Barbie.
Yes. You know, and it's, you know, it doesn't look terrible, I guess.
No, it looks like it could be good. I have no idea if it is.
I'm not sure if it's worth
the trailer, unlike many, didn't make me go, ooh, I'd never want to see that.
Yeah. Although it's weird to say like based off a video game when the video game is just racing, so it's essentially just like a racing movie. Like there's not, I don't know what distinctly about Gran Turismo like.
Well, the preview is basically kids who learn to drive by playing the video game, trying to drive in real life.
Oh, okay, that's actually more of an interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
So it's not based on a video game. It
Based
is
on a true story.
based on people who played the video game.
Yeah, okay, that's cool. That's a cool angle.
Oh, the Expendables 1 through... Well, I didn't see 3. The Expendables 1 and 2 were just bad, so I'm not sure why I'd want to see 4.
But you
From
would.
Adam's comment.
All right, so I just went into a rabbit hole here and pulled up upcoming movies for 2024. And there's some amazing movies coming out.
Well, there's probably a lot of stuff in the pipeline that got pushed back by COVID, so...
Yeah, Beetlejuice 2.
Yep.
Mission Impossible 8, which is the continuation of the one that just came out. Joker Folie à Deux. A Quiet
Lady
Place.
Gaga movie.
A Quiet Place, Day 1.
Oh, yeah.
Is that a prequel?
Sounds like it.
It should be a
Wise
silent
Guys.
Now, is all of this getting pushed off from the strike, though?
Things that are actually in the pipeline will not be. If they're done, they're
in post-production. Unless they need, to go back and redoctor any scenes, then they should be good.
Yeah, as
what
long
they'll
as they're
probably
just
need
post,
is the movies they'd like to go back and reshoot some stuff. They just will edit around it and not do it.
And so it'll be terrible.
So it'll probably be worse than it could have been. Yeah.
Some genius.
We should hear by this week. The writers got an offer from the producers, so
I'm sure it sucked.
Yeah. It'll be how about Narrow?
I don't expect them to come back this year.
I do. I pray they do.
Wow.
I'm not saying I hope they don't.
We're sitting at a year since we started this thing.
Because the studios are really digging their heels in.
I just say I hope it ends by November 19th. That's my goal. That's a year after we finished.
You want a Thanksgiving with writing.
Yeah. I'm just curious how the TV season's going to look.
A lot of reality, a lot of game shows.
Yeah.
They've already are pushing the new season of some reality shows coming up because I think they've moved them forward on the schedule.
Oh wait, there's a Fall Guy movie coming out.
Oh no.
Adam asked about any Marvel movie. Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse comes out in 24. As does Madame Web, and Thunderbolts.
What are your thoughts on the Wonka movie?
When's that coming out?
The preview looked interesting.
It does look interesting.
I'm intrigued, yeah.
It's not going to be good. It's going to be a very beautiful movie, but it has absolutely no reason to exist. Timothy Chalamet is a great actor. He does not belong in that role. He is not going to be better than Jake
You don't buy Hugh Grant as an Oompa Loompa?
I wouldn't buy Hugh Grant as a seventh dwarf.
No, I don't know. It looks
if Emma Ryder can be an Oompa Loompa, Hugh Grant can be an Oompa Loompa.
See,
Josh was an Oompa Loompa.
See,
but part of the great thing about Willy Wonka is that you don't know where he came from.
Right.
Like he's a mystery. He's an enigma. To kind of explain that all the way is like explaining where Hannibal Lecter comes from.
Well, that's part of my problem with the Grinch movie is it's even explicit in the book. Sue says, "How did the Grinch get this way? We don't know." So what do they do in the movie? They proceed to give him an origin story.
Right. But it didn't matter. What matters is where he was and what he did. Exactly.
One of the best
about the Wonka movie coming.
Origin stories are easy, so movies tend to do them.
Speaking of which, Hunger Games is getting their origins.
It's going to prequel, yeah.
Yeah.
I just saw an interview that I'd seen years ago with Gene Wilder. Larry King was interviewing him. May they both rest in peace.
What brilliant casting.
Yeah. And he said that they asked him if he wanted to do the part. And he said, only if when I'm first seen as Willy Wonka, I come out limping with a cane, and then the cane gets stuck in the ground, and I fall, I face plant, and then I roll and I pop up, and I'm okay. And they said, well, why do you want to do that? He said, because that from that point on, nothing I say is true, or everything I say is true. Like, he's always living a lie.
It's the first time the cast actually met them too.
Yeah.
I love it when an actor and a director work together to develop a character that rich, and that was a case where that definitely happened. And same thing happened in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly with Clint Eastwood. He and Leone basically did a lot to build that character together. I love when that happens. Great directors like Billy Wilder, who basically you don't dare change a word on the page. He is the boss. He wrote it. He's directing it. He is going to tell you exactly what to do, and don't you dare deviate.
No, it all depends, right? And I feel like that's the thing. Are you a collaborative director? Or are you a director who's actually going to just go out there and tell what you're going to do and then go back because it's your job? That's what your passion is. Like, I feel like the real artists are the ones who just say, hey, people are going to have more than one great idea, right? And if someone else can find a place in themselves in this part, in this role, then that means it's going to be all the more richer. A real movie is more than one person's vision. It's much more richer when everyone feels like they're contributing something.
You're wrong. No, I'm kidding. That's a great.
So I directed It's a Lot.
Uh-oh, you mentioned It's a Lot.
It'd be fun to compare the very first edit to the current version.
Oh, yeah. Starting with Tiffany. So this is like our first date. That's a great way to describe this.
Oh, stop it.
This reference to Dan's sitcom pilot is brought to you in part by the all-new Era sedan. With a car this hot, it's a lot.
I've tried to find it. Nobody stocks it locally.
Oh, no. It's supply chain issues, Dave.
Oh, yeah. They're all on the container trucks coming over from China.
Yeah, they keep catching fire. The 2 boats full of these cars completely engulfed.
You build them in China to avoid safety regulations, right?
Yes. We don't need that.
Oh, with genuine Takata airbags.
I did finally get my office set up. These 2 things are from the sitcom that we never used.
Yeah, the signs.
The signs for Terry and Lenny from the parking lot.
Well, you haven't used them yet.
I got my Donny Iris album.
Yep. You have your diploma.
Some old thing. Oh, yeah, I got my CCBC dome picture, and the diploma's up here. You can't see it.
That's your point, man.
Yes.
And those guitars only have necks. You just have them mounted back there.
It's actually the bass guitar and the guitar from the sitcom, and then the first guitar that Rick signed. It's my three guitar collection.
Why don't you play a little something for us?
I don't know how to.
Oh, good reason.
I may auction off one of them. Oh my goodness,
that's hair.
Wow,
that's a wig.
No, that's hair. I'd like to see Wade in that wig.
We don't own the wig. We own the flounder hat, but we don't own the wig.
I need to see Wade in that wig too.
Okay.
Someone talk about something.
No, Scott, we're just contemplating your comment.
No, we're just sitting on that for a while, Scott.
What else have we seen?
I think on Friday I'm going to see a bunch of 10-minute plays, Scott.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
or maybe on Thursday. One of the two. I forget. We're having a family dinner one of those nights.
Well, on Wednesday, I'm going to see a comedy show.
Oh yeah, Wednesday, Adam. If you want to drive up to, if you'll be in the Seattle area, I'll be at Laughs Comedy Club on Roosevelt, just blocks from Scott's house.
And then you can stay for the birthday party.
Yeah, we'll do it there.
There you go. Party at Scott's house. Sounds like a great idea.
Yeah,
I mean, it's bright and dazzling right now. Look at it.
Well, it looks roomy.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like there's space for all of us.
Yeah.
Our room.
There's actually a whole couch that stretches along the wall this way. I just got covers for it.
10 comics, only $5, 50 cents a comic.
That's the datum.
What a deal!
Is that what you're paying the comics?
It's not my show. That's what we're getting paid, probably. But yeah.
Yay!
Yay! Anybody else watch any news radio yet?
We watched the first episode, went to bed, woke up, and it was gone.
It was gone. I gotta tell you, I just adore the stupid humor.
Oh yeah,
I love Jimmy James so much.
So quintessentially 90s.
Yes.
I just love it so much. Like this is what makes me laugh.
Look, have you ever heard this expression that you can catch more flies with honey than you can with vinegar?
Have you ever heard the expression, only a hillbilly sits around figuring out the best way to catch flies?
Phil Hartman. Love Phil Hartman.
I'm done. That to me is like, that's perfect.
I mean, the best way to catch flies is actually shit.
Well, this is also true.
Let's think about you today, Dan.
Oh, there's just so much. There's so much goodness. Yeah. I forgot about all the celebrities that they had on. Like it is like, especially by season 3, you're getting Jon Stewart, you get Jerry Seinfeld. You know, you get a lot of big celebrities coming in.
So when did Andy Dick really start to become what he eventually became? Unfortunately,
I don't think he did during the show.
No.
He was pretty much stayed in character the whole show.
He did. You know, I mean, throughout the second season, they really started using him for pratfalls a lot, right? Like every opening bit became Andy Dick pratfall. But like honestly, you know, I said I'm almost to the end of season 3, and it's still pretty much the same character. Okay. If you read Andy Dick's bio and some of the problems he had, those were happening in 96 and 97. Okay. Some of the inappropriate behavior out in public and stuff like that. That was happening, but it doesn't affect the show.
So that's because he was making some good coin.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
One of these days, in honor of Paul Rubens, we should watch Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
That's not a bad idea.
Paging Mr.
I've never watched
Mr. P.W. Herman.
I've actually
That's Popeye, actually, Scott.
You've never seen Pee-wee's Big Adventure?
I have not all the way.
Yes, you have.
Have you ever seen his PSA?
No.
You've never seen Pee-wee Herman's PSA?
Which PSA are we talking about? His blood sample?
This is crack. I'm not kidding. He actually did this.
Oh, he did.
Eric,
are you looking it up, Aaron, or should I?
Who's Aaron?
Yeah, Aaron.
I thought I said Eric. Sorry.
Oh, I thought Aaron Sorkin was on this call.
You know what I did? I combined Eric and Dan into Aaron Dan. Then
Aaron. You just got the duh off.
Shut up.
Aaron.
You know, here's a celebrity name drop. One time when we were looking at houses in Santa Monica, we came out of the house, and the house right next door, the homeowner walked out, and it was Vicki Lewis from News Radio.
Yeah.
She could have been my neighbor.
Wow.
Oh. Is that it? That's
it. On his radio, on his XM channel, Conan O'Brien for a couple of days was just playing all his interviews and his clips from his show that he did with Paul Rubens. It was really a good listen.
Interesting.
I didn't give you your name drop, Dan. Sorry. This name drop is sponsored in part by Death. It's closer than you think. Death is not available in all areas. Please consult your doctor to find out if death is right for you.
That should be a trademark, not a copyright on death.
Oh, no. It's a copyright.
And not only that, we just talk about Pee-wee Herman and you play that? Come on.
It was a Vicky. I'm not responsible. I didn't say it says it's not right for everybody.
You would seriously, Eric. You would love Pee-wee's Big Adventure. I cannot imagine anyone not finding that a delightful.
You had to have seen it in. I mean, you do the Pee-wee dance.
I've seen parts of it. I've seen parts of it.
I mean, Big Top Pee-wee doesn't hold up that well. There's other parts of it, but Pee-wee's Big Adventure just as a stand. I also love the Pee-wee Herman show, the HBO special of his stage show that with Phil Hartman, by the way, that he did before that, which is really good.
I like Paul Rubens. I'm not really a big Pee-wee fan.
Was Pee-wee Herman? Did he have like a Saturday morning show or something?
Yeah, Pee-wee's Playhouse. Yeah,
yeah, which is what makes his PSA so funny.
He talk right in the camera like this.
We watched the Christmas episode on one of the EriDan shows.
It's true, all the way back in that would be December of 2020
with Charo and with Frankie Avalon and Annette Funicello.
Yeah, but I didn't rate that. That very high.
I know. Adam and I were about the only two that liked it.
Yeah. that was a long time ago.
That was before my time. I was just kind of intermittent with you guys.
It's true, but
it is only funny that Christmas special is only funny if you were a fan of the old variety shows on television. The Dean Martin show. Those kind of things where they would have all these celebrity guests on and all of these performers of B-list celebrities, because it's really an homage to that is what it is.
Yeah.
We cannot go anywhere without B-list celebrities. It is true.
It is true.
Well, that's what Stars on Mars is, which we've been watching. A really bad show, by the way. But we're still watching it. I'm not sure why.
I was gonna say, and yet
it's weirdly compelling. It's just these people they threw into a hut in Australia pretending they're on Mars, and they have to go out and do these really stupid challenges that William Shatner keeps sending them.
Not just people, but celebrities.
B-list celebrities. Yes, Kat Cora, Andy Richter. It's Marshawn Lynch.
Andy Richter was on Chuck.
The best show that Marshawn Lynch was ever on was The League.
Oh, his episode of Murderville is very good.
He was also on Brooklyn Nine-Nine for an episode.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
And the whole idea was he wouldn't talk a whole lot and he wouldn't shut up.
I give him credit because most of the people who appeared on Murderville, because it's really an improv show, were comedians. You had Conan O'Brien, you had Ken Jeong. And Marshawn Lynch held his own. He did surprisingly well.
Yeah, he did.
I only watched the first episode of that, and I enjoyed it. But I did not. Started watching the second episode, and it didn't land as well, and so we never went back.
It isn't. They're not all equally good. I completely agree.
Yeah, and we're fickle. Like a bad second episode, I can't take anymore.
Like a pickle.
I'm done. I'm so done.
I'm so done. I'm over this.
What are you reading, Scott?
I'm
Swiss Family Robinson.
Yeah. I'm going back and forth with somebody about a project I'm working on.
Okay.
It's okay. Sorry.
We know where we stand. It's fine.
Pay attention.
Yeah.
I think we're about done anyway.
I think we are.
I think you're right.
Covered it. But we will be back next week to talk about the final countdown. Look at that.
Wow, that was quick.
Oh, so amazing. Look at all those logos. Absolutely.
It's not where the hell are we? It's when the hell are we?
Yeah. So Dan, this will be a Danless show next week. So
I might try to, just pop in and give my score or something if I can.
Right. Or text or leave a message or whatever.
He's going to go back 40 years to when this movie was made and tell them if they should make it or not.
Yeah, Big Top Pee-wee's not bad, but it's Pee-wee's Big Adventure is a groundbreaking movie in its own way.
Oh boy.
Awesome. And then next week, final countdown, 2 weeks, news radio. So next week we will be choosing the double feature.
The pressure.
Already?
The pressure.
The obligation to be here.
The first one's 3.5 hours, and the second one's only 2.5. So I'm being nice to you.
I was gonna do, Infinity
the Irishman
game,
The Irishman, and
See how long two movies could possibly be together.
It was one time, Eric.
But we don't want it to happen again, Scott.
All right, fine. Understood. I'll choose 2 Tom and Jerry cartoons next time.
Yes. I love Tom and Jerry cartoons.
Look at Dave's face just lit up.
Is that your next TV show?
He was like a little kid.
They were great. They weren't as good as the Warner Brothers cartoons of the era, but they were still a lot of fun.
I don't know. The masochism that was happening between Tom and Jerry was really over the top.
You think it's cruel to throw a rake down a cat's mouth so it comes out of his tail? And
I remember Barbera to this day has.
Wait, are we talking about Swiss Family Robinson again?
I remember one time I walked in the garage and Reagan tramped on the rake and did that. And she told me how it really hurt, you know? I'm like, yeah.
And that was the end of her career in physical comedy.
Yeah.
Sideshow Bob.
She's not a physical comedy.
You don't have video of that.
I'm just convinced they used the same recording from that one episode where he did it and just kept doing it over and over again. The Sideshow Bob rake bit.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us again.
Yes.
Yeah. Next week, episode. I lied. 165. Apparently, this was 164. I have no idea what's going on. Yeah, we'll see you again, and we'll do some talk. Yay! Bye. See ya.
In case I don't see ya, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.